Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today we're going to be doing horror book recommendations from Booktubers. So today's video, as I said, is going to be a collection of Booktubers giving you guys their favorite horror book recommendations. This was a request from somebody in the comments, so I'm glad that they requested this, and I'm excited to see what you guys think of everybody's recommendations. I don't have as many as the other videos because I feel like fantasy and sci-fi are like the bigger genres. So that being said, horror is a very big genre. It's just I didn't have as many submissions for this one. So it's not as long of a video, but I hope you guys still enjoy and I hope you find some great horror book recommendations out of this. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Hey guys, I'm Gasha from Gasha's Book Cemetery, and Eric was kind enough to invite me here over to his channel to recommend you a horror book. So I decided, since we are currently in summer, it will be perfect for you guys to get a summer horror recommendation, perhaps. And so I have chosen for you guys The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren. I read this one myself last summer and absolutely loved it because this is action-packed from the beginning to the end, and there is different subgenres of horror that you can find in this book, so there's going to be something for everybody. I personally love horror stories that involve a place that is cursed, a person that is cursed, and in this case we have an island that has a curse. While they are building a new hotel, a new resort in an island in Thailand, they discover a very ancient cave, and unfortunately they also release a very ancient evil. Years later, two sisters decide that they have to reconnect their relationship and decide to take a trip to Thailand. However, they are way too close to that forgotten island where the cursed cave appeared years ago, and they find themselves after a party stranded in that forgotten island. And that is when all the horrors are gonna start, because that evil is still living in the island. This is a book that combines slasher horror with a creature feature, and it never has a dull moment. You never know what's gonna happen next, to the very last page, and that is one of my favorite things about this book. Also, the characters, you're just gonna really root for them, and this is a book that has also a couple of twists and turns, so you're gonna be really engaged while reading it. And since it is based in an island in Thailand while two sisters are enjoying their vacation, I thought it would be perfect for the summer, so I hope that you guys enjoy it.
Hello Booktube family, it's Paperback Mo here, and my horror recommendation is Crick by Carl Beer. I've mentioned this book a couple of times in my videos. When I first came across it, not gonna lie, I was a little bit intimidated. Like, this boy is thick and the font is tiny, so it took me a while just to muster up the courage to even pick it up from my TBR shelf, but boy am I glad I did. The story takes place in a land where all the people have unique abilities called talents. They have powers, basically. For example, the mayor has the ability to talk to insects. There's someone who can make plants grow really quickly. And our protagonist, Jack, has a shadow that is completely independent and a little bit mischievous, really. I know you're getting Peter Pan vibes, but let me tell you, Jack's shadow is one of the features through which the horror really starts to creep in. The story starts getting pretty dark when Jack accidentally comes across the reason why people have talents and where they get them from. It gets pretty creepy, pretty eerie, and just plain horrific in places. It's like someone threw Tim Burton, X-Men, a fairy tale, and a horror into a blender, and this was the result. I loved it. I rarely give books 5 stars, but this one definitely deserves it. The quality of writing is awesome. Carl Beer is a real wordsmith. This is an independently published book, which just makes it all the more special, and all I've got left to say is thank you, Eric, for having me on your channel so I could put this in the spotlight.
Hey loves, I'm Rise from Rise Reading Corner, and yes, I'm reading you from my classroom. If you have seen any of my vlogs, you know this is kind of my signature and a lot of my videos that I make. It's just really convenient on my planning time. But when I saw Eric post about recommending some horror books, doing another collaboration, I was super excited because I participated in his fantasy and his science fiction collaborations. So today I want to recommend you Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. So this story is really cool and really unique because the style of the story is really different. So it's based off like an IKEA store. So the book's set up like it's like a furniture manual, and it has like maps of the store, and the images of the furniture changes as the mood and tone of the story changes well and events happen. So that's really, really unique. Grady Hendrix really does a good combination of kind of like a funny type things, but mixing it with serious and spooky vibes as well. So Horror Store, like I said, takes place at a store that's modeled after IKEA, and our manager thinks that someone is sneaking into the building because whenever he comes back in the morning, things are not the way they were left. So he has a crew stay overnight to try and catch the people that are breaking into the building. So we follow the story of all these people staying there, and it may not so be people that are breaking in, but some supernatural forces. I don't want to spoil too much because I feel like going into the story with not having much expectations or knowledge is the way to go, because that's how I did, and I was completely taken back by and turned upside down when I figured out what was going on in the story, because it's like night and day from the beginning of the story, and the way it ends, it's phenomenal. So if you're looking for a good horror type book that's not too scary, but definitely is creepy, eerie, it is perfect for all times of the year. I would definitely recommend Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. And thank you, Eric, for doing this again. And I hope you if you ever want to check out my channel for other type of recommendations and maybe some more classroom spots, definitely check out my channel again. It's Rise a Reading Corner. Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Gabriella from Alara Family Blogs, and the horror book that I'm going to recommend is Seed by Ania Allborn. This book was recommended to me by my friend Jen. I asked for a scary book that would creep me out and scare the crap out of me, and this book did that. So first of all, look at the cover. Look how cool it looks with all the blood splattered all over. The book is about a man named Jack who ran away from home at a very, very young age. I believe he was like 12, 13 years old when he ran away because he was being haunted by this evil, dark spirit. And he ran away hoping to leave that behind. And for many, many years, it seemed that, everything was good. He got married, had 2 daughters, and then one day they are in a car accident and they all survive, but things are not the same anymore. He starts to feel that presence again, and not only that, his youngest daughter Charlie can also see the dark spirit, and so it starts to change his daughter too, and little sweet Charlie isn't little sweet Charlie anymore. It's a crazy book with all kinds of crazy stuff happening. I recommend this book. I was told to read this with my lights on, and I dare you to read this book with your lights off. Thanks, Eric, for having me on here.
What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and I'm from the channel aptly named Brad Proctor because I'm really creative when it comes to coming up with cool sounding names. But over on my channel, I read a lot of horror, focusing mainly on indie and small press horror. I do read some fantasy, sci-fi, regional lit type of stuff on the side as well. But today I've been invited by Eric to come over to his channel and talk about one of my favorite horror novels. If I was going to talk about my favorite horror novel of all time, it would probably be Salem's Lot by Stephen King. But everyone's heard of that before, so we're going to talk about something different today. Today we're going to talk about Tome by Ross Jeffrey. Tome is set in the fictional town of Juniper in the American South, and the majority of our story takes place in the Juniper Correctional Facility. It's a prison story. And overall, the atmosphere, it's dreary, depressing, oppressive. It's raining the entire time. It's overcast. It's this flood going on in the small town of Juniper. But this book, it's electrifyingly powerful. It's pulsating with fear, grief, lust, the vile intentions of man. Jeffrey, he does an expert job weaving together this eerie, grim, gritty narrative populated by these loathsome, greasy, but completely compelling characters. Its expert pacing, mounting dread, and unsettling atmosphere all culminate together for a truly uniquely scary experience. I highly suggest you check this one out. You know, there's more to horror beyond Stephen King and Dean Koontz and Anne Rice. Definitely check out some of these indie and small press authors. They are putting out killer, amazing work, and Tome is one of those. This is part of a trilogy of books. Tome is the prequel to the novella Juniper, and you can really read them in any order, but I suggest you read Tome. It's an amazing read. It was nominated for a Bram Stoker Award, and deservingly so. But thanks to Eric for having me on to recommend a book. I recommend Tome by Ross Jeffrey.
And those are all the horror book recommendations from other booktubers. Thank you so much to everybody that decided to participate in this video and send me a clip for their horror recommendation. I wish I had a horror recommendation, but I actually haven't read that many horror books yet. Now that I have seen all these recommendations though, I'm definitely going to be looking some of these up and seeing if I can find them at the bookstore. I am probably going to try and read more horror for the month of October because that's like the spooky month of the year as of having Halloween. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to finding some spooky / scary reads for that month. Let me know in the comments down below what genre of book recommendations you want to do next, and I'll gather the booktubers and see what they have to say. And now for our independent bookstore shout out. Okay guys, so today's independent bookstore is for Talisman Books and Gallery, and they are located on Pender Island, British Columbia. This is their website. It's not that big. It's actually a pretty small website. They just have one reel with new releases. But of course, if you want to see like all the books they have in their catalog, you just hit browse and that'll take you to their section where they have all the new books. They got the new one by John Green. But yeah, this area has like all the books that they have in stock. So definitely go check them out. They're a smaller bookstore and I'm sure they could use all the support we can give them. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Mondays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.